In a world teeming with interactions and relationships, encountering disrespect is nearly unavoidable. Whether it surfaces as an offhand comment from a colleague, a dismissive gesture from a stranger, or more deliberate acts of belittlement, disrespect often tests our patience, challenges our ego, and sometimes leaves us questioning our self-worth. Yet, what if we could navigate such moments with grace and wisdom, transforming them into opportunities for growth? This exploration delves deep into the heart of Buddhist teachings to illuminate how we can do just that. Before diving into strategies, it's essential to comprehend what disrespect truly represents. Disrespect is not merely an action directed at us. Often, it's a reflection of the other person's internal struggles. Imagine you're walking down the street, and someone shouts a hurtful remark. Instinctively, you may feel wounded or angry. But ask yourself, is their behavior truly about you, or does it stem from their unresolved pain, insecurities, or frustrations? Buddhism teaches us to differentiate between being disrespected and feeling disrespected. This distinction is akin to tuning a radio. Sometimes what we perceive as an attack is merely our internal frequency amplifying external noise. When we grasp this, we can begin to address disrespect not as a personal affront, but as an opportunity to practice mindfulness and compassion. At its core, Buddhism views respect not as a social nicety or hierarchical obligation, but as an acknowledgement of the intrinsic value and interconnectedness of all beings. This perspective stems from the fundamental Buddhist principle of interdependence. Just as the petals of a lotus are supported by the mud and water below, we too are interconnected. Our actions ripple out, affecting others and ourselves. From this lens, showing respect is not conditional upon others' behavior but a reflection of our own values. By extending kindness and understanding even to those who act disrespectfully, we align ourselves with the teachings of compassion and foster a sense of unity. This approach doesn't mean condoning harmful actions. Rather, it's about choosing responses rooted in wisdom over impulsivity. Patience is often likened to a shield in Buddhism, a protective barrier that prevents us from reacting impulsively when confronted with disrespect. When someone's words or actions provoke us, the instinctive reaction might be to retaliate or withdraw in hurt. However, cultivating patience allows us to pause, breathe, and approach the situation with clarity. Consider this analogy. Imagine holding a cup of tea that's just been poured. If you attempt to sip it immediately, you'll burn your tongue. But if you wait, the tea cools, becoming pleasant and enjoyable. Similarly, when faced with disrespect, patience gives us the space to cool our emotional reactions, allowing us to respond thoughtfully rather than impulsively. In practice, patience can be nurtured through mindfulness meditation. By training the mind to stay present, we develop greater control over our reactions. For instance, instead of snapping back at a rude remark, we can silently acknowledge our feelings and choose to respond with composure. This not only de-escalates the situation, but also preserves our inner peace. Compassion is a cornerstone of Buddhist practice and an antidote to the bitterness that disrespect can breed. When someone acts disrespectfully, it's often a manifestation of their suffering. Recognizing this allows us to shift from anger to empathy. Imagine encountering a distressed animal snarling and lashing out. While its actions might be frightening, understanding that its behavior stems from fear or pain evokes a sense of compassion. Similarly, when we view disrespectful individuals through the lens of their struggles, we can respond with kindness rather than resentment. Practicing compassion doesn't mean tolerating harmful behavior. It's about maintaining a sense of empathy while setting boundaries. For example, if a colleague undermines your ideas during a meeting, instead of retaliating, you might privately address the issue, expressing understanding for their perspective while firmly asserting your boundaries. This approach transforms the interaction into a constructive dialogue rather than a conflict. Disrespect often stings because it bruises our ego, the part of us that seeks validation and fears criticism. Letting go of ego is a profound Buddhist practice that liberates us from this cycle of reactivity. Ego, in this context, is the attachment to our self-image and the desire to defend it at all costs. When someone disrespects us, the ego perceives it as a threat, prompting defensive or aggressive reactions. However, Buddhism teaches that our true worth isn't tied to others' opinions, but arises from within. By releasing the need for external validation, we gain the freedom to respond to disrespect with equanimity. This doesn't mean suppressing our feelings. Rather, it involves acknowledging them without letting them dictate our actions. For instance, if a friend makes a sarcastic comment about your achievements, instead of retaliating, you might reflect on their possible insecurities and choose a measured response. Mindfulness is the practice of being fully present and aware of our thoughts, emotions, and surroundings. When faced with disrespect, mindfulness serves as an anchor, preventing us from being swept away by reactive emotions. Picture a turbulent sea. Without mindfulness, we're like a small boat tossed by waves of anger, hurt, and frustration. But with mindfulness, we become the steady lighthouse, observing the waves without being overpowered by them. Practicing mindfulness involves tuning into our immediate experience without judgment. If someone's words trigger anger, mindfulness encourages us to notice the sensation of heat rising in our chest or the quickening of our breath. By observing these reactions, we create a space between stimulus and response, enabling us to act with intention rather than impulse. In the face of disrespect, silence can be a powerful response. It's not about suppressing our voice, but about choosing restraint to maintain our composure and dignity. Silence creates a pause, allowing emotions to settle and thoughtful responses to emerge. For example, if a family member criticizes your choices at a gathering, responding with silence can defuse the tension. It demonstrates that you're not easily provoked, creating an opportunity for a calmer conversation later. Silence, when combined with mindful listening, also opens the door to understanding the other person's perspective. While patience, compassion, and mindfulness guide our internal responses, setting boundaries ensures that disrespect doesn't erode our well-being. Boundaries are not walls but guidelines that define acceptable behavior and protect our emotional health. Communicating boundaries requires clarity and firmness. For instance, if a coworker frequently interrupts you, you might say, "I value your input, but I need to finish my thoughts before hearing your perspective." Such statements assert your needs without hostility, fostering mutual respect. Forgiveness is a liberating practice that frees us from the burden of resentment. Holding on to anger towards those who've disrespected us only prolongs our suffering. Forgiveness doesn't excuse the behavior. It's a conscious choice to release its hold on our peace of mind. Reflect on a time when someone's actions deeply hurt you. Carrying that pain may have felt like dragging a heavy weight. Forgiveness lightens that load, allowing you to move forward unburdened. This doesn't mean reconciling with the person but finding closure within yourself. Cultivating gratitude shifts our focus from what's lacking to what's abundant in our lives. Even amidst disrespect, gratitude reminds us of the kindness and support that surround us, fostering resilience. Remembering impermanence, a central Buddhist teaching, offers perspective. Disrespectful moments, like all experiences, are fleeting. Recognizing this transience helps us navigate challenges with a sense of calm and acceptance. To explore these teachings further and integrate them into your daily life, consider subscribing to Buddhism in Modern Life. Together, we can delve deeper into practices that inspire compassion, mindfulness, and resilience, enriching our interactions and inner journeys. Building on the foundational principles discussed earlier, we now delve deeper into the practical ways Buddhist teachings can be applied to navigate disrespectful interactions in our day-to-day lives. This section expands on earlier insights, offering vivid examples and actionable advice to ensure the teachings resonate meaningfully. In moments of conflict, it is tempting to mirror the negativity we encounter. However, leading by example, living in alignment with principles of respect, kindness, and patience is a far more impactful response. This approach not only preserves our peace, but also sets a powerful precedent for others. Consider a workplace scenario where a team member publicly criticizes your efforts. A reactive response, driven by anger, could escalate tensions. Instead, choosing calmness and responding with constructive dialogue reflects maturity and inner strength. By addressing the situation thoughtfully, perhaps saying, "I hear your concerns and appreciate your feedback," let's discuss how we can work together more effectively. You transform potential conflict into an opportunity for growth. Leading with integrity fosters mutual respect and cultivates a positive atmosphere, inspiring others to emulate your behavior. While it's important to practice patience and understanding, setting boundaries is equally vital for maintaining self-respect and emotional well-being. Boundaries clarify what behaviors are acceptable and establish the terms for healthy relationships. Take the example of a close friend who frequently makes sarcastic remarks at your expense. You might gently but firmly communicate your feelings by saying, "I value our friendship deeply, but I've noticed some comments that feel hurtful to me. Can we address this together?" By approaching the conversation with compassion, you honor both your needs and the relationship, demonstrating that boundaries are not barriers, but bridges to healthier interactions. Mindfulness, the art of being fully present, is a cornerstone for handling disrespect gracefully. By cultivating awareness of our thoughts and emotions, we create a buffer between external triggers and our responses. This practice enables us to choose actions aligned with our values rather than reacting impulsively. Imagine being cut off in traffic. Your initial impulse might be to honk or shout, but mindfulness offers an alternative. Take a deep breath, acknowledge your frustration, and remind yourself that the other driver's actions reflect their urgency or distraction, not an attack on you personally. By shifting perspective, you reclaim control over your emotional state and avoid unnecessary stress. Holding on to resentment is like clutching a hot coal. The pain we endure only deepens over time. Forgiveness, a central tenet of Buddhism, liberates us from this burden. It's not about excusing harmful actions, but about freeing ourselves from the emotional weight of past wrongs. Reflect on a personal story, perhaps a colleague who took credit for your idea. While confronting them constructively addresses the issue, forgiveness ensures you don't carry lingering bitterness. Letting go fosters emotional clarity, allowing you to focus on present and future opportunities rather than dwelling on past grievances. Gratitude transforms our perspective, highlighting the positive amidst challenges. Even when faced with disrespect, gratitude encourages us to appreciate the supportive and uplifting aspects of our lives. For example, after a particularly difficult day filled with conflicts, take a moment to reflect on the things that went right. Did a colleague share kind words, or did you enjoy a comforting meal? These small acknowledgments anchor us in positivity, reducing the impact of negativity and fostering resilience. Disrespectful interactions, like all experiences, are fleeting. The Buddhist principle of impermanence reminds us to view these moments within the broader context of life's constant ebb and flow. Consider a heated argument with a loved one. In the moment, emotions might run high, making the disagreement feel insurmountable. Yet, remembering that all emotions and conflicts are temporary helps us approach the situation with patience and perspective. Often, what seems significant in the moment fades with time, making space for reconciliation and growth. Embracing these teachings requires practice and intentionality. Begin integrating them into your daily routine by setting aside moments for reflection, mindfulness, and gratitude. Over time, these habits will fortify your ability to handle disrespect with wisdom and grace. If you're finding value in this journey, I encourage you to subscribe to Buddhism in Modern Life. Together, we can continue exploring transformative practices that enrich both our inner and outer worlds. Let's build a community committed to compassion, resilience, and understanding. Navigating the complexities of human interaction requires both subtlety and strength, especially when faced with moments that challenge our values or sense of self. As we continue to delve into the profound wisdom Buddhism offers, it becomes evident that the path to handling disrespect is not a linear journey but a dynamic process that transforms both our inner world and external relationships. Consider the role of empathy in transforming tense situations. When someone speaks harshly or acts disrespectfully, our immediate reaction might be to mirror their negativity. However, empathy allows us to pause and consider the motivations behind their behavior. Perhaps their harsh words stem from a place of fear, insecurity, or stress. By stepping into their shoes, we shift from seeing them as adversaries to recognizing their humanity. This shift not only diffuses conflict, but also creates opportunities for connection. Imagine a moment when a colleague's critique felt personal. Instead of reacting defensively, acknowledging their stress, and even offering support, could transform the interaction into one of mutual respect. Silence, often underestimated, is another powerful tool in navigating disrespect. It provides a space for reflection, enabling us to separate the emotional charge from the content of the exchange. This silence isn't about passivity. It's a conscious choice to step back and allow clarity to emerge. In those moments of stillness, we can process our emotions, observe the dynamics at play, and choose a response that aligns with our values. Silence also sends a subtle message of confidence and composure. Think of a heated family argument where, instead of escalating the tension, maintaining calm silence can guide the conversation back to a constructive path. Understanding impermanence deepens our capacity for resilience. Every encounter, pleasant or unpleasant, is part of the transient flow of life. Remembering this impermanence helps us keep perspective, especially when disrespect feels overwhelming. That sharp comment from a stranger or disagreement with a loved one doesn't define our lives. Like a storm that eventually gives way to clear skies, these moments pass, leaving room for clarity and healing. Holding on to this perspective allows us to navigate even the stormiest interactions with equanimity. Boundaries play an essential role in cultivating healthy relationships while maintaining our sense of self-respect. Setting boundaries is not about creating distance, but about fostering mutual understanding and respect. For instance, if a friend continually interrupts during conversations, gently expressing the need for space to share your thoughts demonstrates self-respect while inviting them to reflect on their behavior. By asserting our needs with kindness, we teach others how to treat us and nurture healthier dynamics. The practice of gratitude offers a lens to reframe challenges. Even in the face of disrespect, there are opportunities to recognize the positives. Perhaps a difficult conversation revealed truths that needed addressing, or a moment of tension highlighted the value of patience. Gratitude doesn't negate the challenges we face. Instead, it helps us uncover the growth and lessons within them. Reflecting on moments where adversity spurred personal growth can inspire us to see disrespect not as an affront, but as a teacher guiding us toward greater understanding. Mindfulness remains the foundation upon which all these practices rest. By staying present, we become attuned to the subtleties of our emotions and the nuances of interactions. Mindfulness allows us to observe our triggers, recognize patterns in our reactions, and choose responses that reflect our higher intentions. It transforms what could be reactive and impulsive into deliberate and thoughtful actions. In the context of navigating disrespect, mindfulness empowers us to break free from habitual patterns and approach each situation with fresh eyes and an open heart. Forgiveness is perhaps one of the most liberating practices in this journey. Holding on to resentment ties us to the past, draining our energy and clouding our perspective. Forgiveness doesn't mean condoning hurtful behavior. It means releasing its hold over our well-being. When we forgive, we reclaim our power, choosing peace over pain. Consider a time when forgiving someone brought a sense of relief and freedom. That act of letting go was not about them, but about reclaiming your emotional clarity and peace. Through forgiveness, we transcend the limitations of anger and step into a space of expansive understanding. As we integrate these teachings into our lives, the ripple effects extend far beyond our personal experiences. By embodying compassion, patience, and understanding, we influence our surroundings in subtle yet profound ways. People around us begin to notice the calmness in our demeanor, the kindness in our responses, and the resilience in our approach to challenges. These qualities inspire others to reflect on their actions and perhaps adopt a similar path of mindfulness and compassion. Returning to the interconnectedness of all beings, every act of kindness and understanding contributes to a collective harmony. When we choose to respond to disrespect with grace, we disrupt cycles of negativity, replacing them with opportunities for growth and reconciliation. This doesn't mean we won't encounter challenges or moments of doubt. However, each time we choose to act with integrity, we strengthen our ability to navigate life's complexities with wisdom and love. If this journey resonates with you, consider subscribing to Buddhism in Modern Life. Together, we can continue exploring how timeless teachings shape our present realities, fostering a community rooted in compassion and growth. Let us walk this path together, transforming challenges into stepping stones and creating ripples of positivity that extend far beyond ourselves. As we reach the culmination of this journey, it's important to reflect on how these practices collectively transform our lives. The path of navigating disrespect is not merely about managing difficult interactions. It's about cultivating an inner foundation of peace, resilience, and understanding that permeates every aspect of our existence. This transformation begins with self-awareness, the cornerstone of Buddhist teachings, which allows us to recognize our patterns, triggers, and the stories we tell ourselves about disrespectful encounters. When we practice mindfulness, we uncover the space between our emotions and our actions. This space is where choice resides, enabling us to respond to life's challenges rather than react impulsively. It's in this choice that we find freedom. Freedom from the grip of anger, resentment, or the need to prove ourselves. Instead of being swept away by the currents of negativity, mindfulness anchors us in the present moment, reminding us of our intrinsic power to shape our responses with intention and clarity. Gratitude serves as a powerful antidote to the weight of negative interactions. When faced with disrespect, it's easy to become consumed by what's lacking: respect, kindness, or understanding. However, gratitude shifts our perspective, illuminating the abundance in our lives. Even in challenging moments, there is always something to be grateful for. The support of a trusted friend, the beauty of nature, or the simple fact that every difficulty carries the seed of growth. By nurturing gratitude, we train our minds to seek the light in even the darkest situations. Forgiveness, while often the most difficult practice, is also the most liberating. It frees us from the chains of past pain, allowing us to move forward unburdened. Forgiving doesn't mean forgetting or excusing harmful behavior. It means reclaiming our peace. This act of letting go is a profound gift to ourselves, a declaration that we will not let resentment dictate our emotional state. Each time we forgive, we strengthen our capacity for compassion, not only for others but also for ourselves, as we navigate the complexities of being human. Setting boundaries is another essential element of this journey. While compassion and forgiveness guide our internal landscape, boundaries define the framework for our external relationships. They communicate our needs and values clearly, ensuring that respect flows both ways. Boundaries are not walls to keep others out, but bridges that foster understanding and mutual respect. They allow us to remain authentic and aligned with our values while navigating the intricacies of human connection. Understanding impermanence deepens our resilience. When we recognize that all experiences are transient, we are less likely to hold on to negative emotions or magnify the significance of temporary conflicts. This perspective reminds us that every moment, whether joyful or challenging, is part of a larger, ever-changing tapestry. By embracing impermanence, we cultivate a sense of equanimity, enabling us to face life's uncertainties with grace and courage. The teachings of Buddhism ultimately guide us toward a state of inner harmony that radiates outward. As we integrate patience, compassion, mindfulness, and gratitude into our daily lives, we not only transform ourselves but also inspire those around us. The ripple effects of our actions extend far beyond the immediate moment, touching the lives of others in ways we may never fully see. Each time we choose kindness over anger or understanding over judgment, we contribute to a collective shift toward greater connection and harmony. In closing, let us remember that this journey is not about perfection but progress. Each step we take toward cultivating mindfulness and compassion brings us closer to the life we aspire to live. By embodying these teachings, we become beacons of light in a world often shadowed by misunderstanding and conflict. As you continue on this path, may you find strength in moments of difficulty, joy in the simple beauty of life, and wisdom in every challenge you face. If this exploration has resonated with you, I warmly invite you to subscribe to Buddhism in Modern Life. Together, we can continue to delve into practices that enrich our lives and foster a community rooted in compassion and growth. Thank you for walking this journey with me. May your path be filled with peace, resilience, and boundless understanding.